Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the sanctuary this last Sunday in September. Well, the year is just zooming past, and what a year it's been, right? How you all doing? Good. Most of you good. Yeah, it's boring. It's long. It's lasting much longer than we ever thought. I remember I was optimistically planning to have a service here on June the 28th. That's 3 months ago now. And the end is still not quite in sight, but we're going to get through it, right? I don't have anything to announce to you this morning, except our normal stuff, Wednesday night, Zoom chat. It's always a fun time. Some of you are never going to do that, apparently. You're missing out. That's all I can tell you. But I'm going to stop twisting your arm. If you don't want to have a good time and get out of your shell a little bit, I can't make you do that. But it's a good time. So join us if you can. Even if you've never done it, try it. Just try it one time, Wednesday night. All right, last Sunday, I sort of issued you an assignment, or I asked you to do something for me. And that was, I wanted you to do a video. Just a little selfie video of just a few seconds where you could say what you wanted to other sanctuary folks who are watching this. And several of you responded. I'm so thankful to you for doing it. And I want to show those to you this morning so you can see some faces you probably haven't seen in a long time. One of the first to respond was Vicky Oliver. And Vicky just wants to tell you hi and tell you how she's doing.
Hi, this is Vicky. I hope to see y'all soon in church. Stay safe. Bye.
Vicky looks great, sounds great, is doing all right. I'm not so sure about her husband, though. Stacy, there's got to be a story here, but let me show you what Stacy sent.
Hi, Mike. I think everything's going well here. Be glad when we can come back to church. This is Stacy, by the way. Had a rough night last night.
Looks like Stacy was sleeping in the doghouse, which I imagine he spends a lot of time in there, but it made me laugh when I saw it, Stacy, so good job. Diane Ruby sent one in. She's excited and wants to tell you about one good thing that's happened to her during the quarantine.
Hi, I'm going to give you a video on something that's good to me that has happened to me during quarantine. Do you remember the panic buy and everybody went to the grocery store and you just got what you got? Well, that happened. I was looking for my yogurt, couldn't find it, but I found this, and this is called Too Good, and it really is. It comes in strawberry and vanilla, and it has 2 grams of sugar, and I just love it, and I found it during the panic buy. So that's my good thing that's happened to me in quarantine. Bye-bye.
I love that. I wish I could be that enthusiastic about yogurt, but congratulations on that good find, Diane, and for sharing it with us. Now, from way on the east coast part of our country comes a greeting from a familiar face, Candy.
Hey, from Maine. Just wanted to tell you all it's beautiful up here. The fall colors are really popping out. So I miss you all, and I wish you were here. Hope you can come visit soon.
Boy, me too. It looks great. The next video comes from our good friend and very faithful member, Chloe Johnson.
Good morning. My name is Chloe Johnson, or Chloe. I'm living at the Marvia at the Domain, a beautiful place. And it's extra special because just like the sermon that Mike had last week, I have an angel living across the hall from me. Her name is Anna, but if you're family, she's an Annie, and so she's Annie to me. She's a Holocaust survivor, and I want to share her story with you. I'm going to send it to Mike, and he can make the decision whether or not how he provides it. Today is a typical day. No, it's not a typical day. It's a rainy day. And I'm looking out my window because I love the view and all the activity that goes on. And it's always been, a rainy day has always been my favorite. Looking forward to actually getting to see all of you in person instead of over my watch and phone. Have a wonderful, wonderful day, and I'll see you soon. Bye.
Thank you, Chloe. She referred to last Sunday's message about angels among us. That turned out to be one of the most watched messages that is on our channel, and I love that. Thank you so much for sharing it with other people. I'll post the link to the video that Chloe's friend has provided. It's very powerful, the Holocaust survivor. I'll post that on our Facebook page, and I'll also include it in the email about our Wednesday night Zoom chat. So it's well worth a half hour or so of your time to watch it. Excuse me. Now, in that message about angels last Sunday, I mentioned the friend that was with me when we met Norman, the unforgettable character we ran into and had dinner with. Randy is the guy I told you about who is the Winston Churchill impersonator. Well, Randy was watching the message, and he sent this video in.
Hi, this is Randy Otto. Have you seen any angels around? Norman, are you there? Hi, Mike. Hi, everybody. Keep looking for angels. I know they're out there.
And then the next video is from our good buddy, Brandy Valentine, who wants to share this message with you.
Hey, I hope everyone is staying safe and healthy and happy. I miss you, and I look forward to seeing you in person again, hopefully soon. Remember, love wins.
Thank you, Brandy. And our final message is from this almost nameless cowgirl.
Hey everybody, hope y'all are doing well. I've just been rounding up little doggies everywhere, and boy, are they a handful. Hope everybody's well, miss you. Look forward to the time that we can all get back together again. Have a good one. Can you tell them bye, Evie? Oh, thank you.
I just love these. I want to keep doing this. So if you were too scared to participate this time around, you see it's easy to do. Just hold your phone up in front of you and say, hey, everybody, I haven't had a haircut in 6 months. Something like that, and send it to me, and we'll share your message with the other members of the Sanctuary family. All right? Well worth it. Well, let's get to the message for today. It's called You Do the Math. You do the math. Now, math is probably not your favorite subject. In high school, I was really good at math. You may be familiar with the Texas University Interscholastic League, UIL. UIL holds a series of contests every year for high school students. And they are in every category you can imagine, from playing a tuba solo to reciting poetry to doing a one-act play. But there was an event when I was in high school called Number Sense. And I was really good at number sense. I actually won my district a couple of years in a row in number sense. Number sense, you would go into a room and sit down with a bunch of students from other schools, and they would give you a sheet of paper that had 80 math problems on it. Some were simple, some were very hard. You had 10 minutes to do as many of those 80 problems as you could. Now, if you think about it, if you divide it, if you're good at math, that's 8 problems a minute you had to solve. And I learned doing number sense that there was one thing you could never do. You could never second guess yourself. You could never go, oh, wait, did I remember to carry the 2? And then let me go back and check it. You couldn't go back and check. If you did, you'd probably miss filling in 3 or 4 other answers. So you had to just blaze through that thing. And I was good at it then. I would hate to do it now. I'm not good at math anymore. I never do math, really. I'm so bad at it now that if I have to figure out what 8 times 7 is, I use the calculator on my laptop or my phone. 8 times 7. But I was good at it then. And one thing I always liked in school, believe it or not, I liked algebra. Algebra to me was always like solving a puzzle. It's like those logic problems you solve where Sally buys a black dress and Bobby buys a blue jacket, and those logic problems. I love those. So I liked algebra because it was always trying to find out what x equaled. What does x equal? Well, if you're good at algebra, you can generally always solve the problem of what x equals. Boy, wouldn't it be nice if life was like that? If there was only one right answer? Now, today's message is kind of specially targeted at those of you who are single. But it's not just targeted at single people, but I think single people will find something particularly suitable for them in this message. The mathematics of one, being single. I'm not single anymore, but I was single for a long, long time. And I know you're saying, yeah, obviously. But the fact is, I still have not been married for half of my life. I have not been married for as long as I was single. I will hit that mark somewhere within the next year. I will hit the mark of being married longer than I was unmarried. But I'm not quite there yet. But single people sometimes get a raw deal because the equation single people are always trying to solve is this one. One plus something equals everything. 1 plus x equals everything. And single people want to solve this equation. They want to find the thing that they can add to themselves, which will give them all the answers, which will solve all the problems. If I could only find the right X, the right person, then everything would be perfect. But unfortunately, sometimes the X we're looking for ends up becoming an EX of a different kind because they didn't balance our equation or it wasn't just right in the math part. Well, we don't get good advice. We don't get many good examples of how to find what's missing in our lives, the X that will make our lives everything. Movies and TV don't tell us the true story. They don't tell it right. You remember the movie Jerry Maguire? It's a good movie. I loved it when it came out. There's a scene at the end of the movie, and it's all about Tom Cruise's character, and he's trying to deal with Renee Zellweger's character, and he finally comes to the realization that he loves this woman. And so he goes to her house, and she's got a group of her girlfriends sitting around the living room, and he barges in. And you remember that scene because it ends with Renee Zellweger saying, "Shut up, you had me at hello." Remember that? Great line. You had me at hello. But just before that, when he's trying to explain himself, he's choked with emotion. His voice is cracking. His eyes are full of tears. And he looks at Renee Zellweger and he says, "You complete me." Well, I'm here to tell you this morning that Tom Cruise told a big fat lie when he said that. Because the truth is, no person can complete you. It's not something that people are capable of doing. They can encourage you, they can assist you, they can compliment you, they can help you carry the load, but they cannot make you whole, cannot make you a complete person. It's just not something that's within the realm of possibility for a human being to do. Now, there are a lot of marriages based on finding someone to complete you or finding somebody that you can fix into something that will complete you. And we all know that rarely works at all. So if you're counting on somebody else to be that X, your equation is never going to balance. See, there is a God-shaped void within each of us that we try to fill with all kinds of stuff. We try to fill it with success or friends or money or lots of vacations or a new car every year. We try to fill that hole, and nothing will fill that God-shaped hole besides God. I remember it was about this time of year, 14 years ago, when I was ordained by the big church I was working at. I was a graphic designer, and they decided, and I was amenable to the idea of being ordained as a pastor at this big church. And they said, you're going to be the pastor of midlife single adults. Midlife singles. We want you to start a new class on Sunday mornings for midlife singles. In fact, we want you to call it midlife singles. I said, I'm not going to call it midlife singles. Starting out rebellious, I know, not a great thing, but I said, I'm not going to call it midlife singles. I'm going to call it wings. They said, why wings? I said, I'm not completely sure yet. I don't know. But we started announcing this wings class for midlife single adults. And we publicized it for a couple of weeks, and then the first day came. And on the first morning of that class, there were 50 people the first day. That class would eventually grow to be 125 people, the size of many churches, much, much larger than this church. And that was just a Sunday school class. Why did it take off so fast? Why? Well, I think there are a couple of reasons. One is, I think, the tagline that I gave to this class. Wings, and the tagline was, don't settle, soar. Now, that took me about 10 minutes to think of, but as the years had gone by, I thought more and more, that was a really good saying. Don't settle, soar. There's a lot of truth in there. Another reason I think the class was successful, I decided I didn't want to teach a Sunday school class for single people that was all about, oh, how can we find another spouse? Isn't it sad that we're all on our own now? Don't we miss being married? How can we attract other people? I decided I wasn't going to teach a class about that, or even in dealing with the problems of single people. Instead, I wanted to teach them to love their life, to love themselves right now. Not to say, I'll be great when I find another person. No, you're great right now. You're the coolest thing God ever made. And until you believe that, nobody else is going to believe it. You have to believe in yourself. You have to know yourself. And so the goal was not to settle. Don't settle, soar. Don't settle for the first person to come along. Not to settle, as middle-aged adults often do, with, well, this is as good as I'm going to find. I better grab this one. Don't settle when you can soar, when you can fly. Now, I didn't have to use the word soar. I could have said other words. I could have said, don't settle, study. Because see, when you're single, you have some extra time. You have time to paint or write or take dance lessons, to learn more stuff, to develop into a better person. You have the time to do that. Or I could have said, don't settle, serve. Nothing will make you love your life more than reaching out to help other people. You'll forget about your own problems when you start looking at someone else and helping them with their problems. Or I could have said, don't settle, celebrate. Celebrate the you that God created. God didn't make a mistake when he made you. You are exactly how he intended you to be. You've got to realize that. I'm special. God made me on purpose. You have to believe that. And when you do, you'll be surprised that other people will be more attracted to you if you're not constantly fretting about, oh, I'm not this, I'm not that. Learn who you are, not who you're not. So, still, so many of us wait for X to happen, to wait for something else to come along to balance our equation. 1 plus X equals everything. There's an author named Donald Miller you may be familiar with. He wrote a huge selling book maybe 15 years ago called Blue Like Jazz. Blue Like Jazz caught the imagination of the public, and it was a big bestseller. It was eventually made into a movie, and it was basically the story, the true story of how Donald Miller came to be a Christian, even though he was going to the most unchristian college in the country at the time. And it was a good book, but better than Blue Like Jazz, I think, was the next book he wrote, which is called A Million Miles in 1,000 Years. And he wrote this book because of what Blue Like Jazz had changed. He had become successful. He suddenly had lots of money. He had people clamoring to hear his wisdom, to learn from him. And eventually somebody said, we want to make a movie about your life, about this book. And he realized he was going to have to write a script of his own story. Wow. But he came to realize, as he was thinking about it, he realized that all of us are living a story. We are all writing a story every day. And so he thought, how can I make my story better? Well, I have to do some things that are more interesting. I have to do some things that I could coast by and choose not to do, but this will make the story better. So, for instance, he hadn't spoken to his father in 30 plus years, since he was a child. He sought out his father. He met up with his father. He patched up that broken, shattered relationship with his dad. Why? Because it would make a better story. He sought out a girl he had a crush on. He was too afraid to say anything to her, and he thought, my story would be much better if I walked up and started talking to her, if I broke the ice. He ended up marrying that girl. He decided to do something that was totally out of character for him. He decided to ride his bike from the Pacific Ocean to the Atlantic Ocean, from coast to coast. Now, he was not a bike enthusiast. He was mainly riding around the neighborhood, but he knew to do it, he was going to have to get in shape. He lost weight, he trained, he built muscle, he rode with other people, he formed new relationships, and he completed that trip just for the story. And I think there's great wisdom in that when we're deciding what to do with our lives. What's going to make a great story for you? I'd be really happy if people read my obituary and laugh halfway through it. Or they go, ooh, I want to try that. Instead of going, okay, he did this and then he died and blah, blah, blah. What's going to make your story more interesting? Not just to others, more interesting to you. Because if it's interesting to you, it's going to be interesting to somebody else too. When you write your story, you're writing your life. Most of us just sit there saying, well, I wonder when something exciting is going to happen to us. If I were an old-time preacher, I would say, God will write your story. But I don't believe that anymore. God gives you the paper and the pencil. But you're supposed to do the writing. And if you sit there waiting for a good story to appear, you're going to miss the story. You're going to miss it when it happens just by sitting and waiting. One of the things that Donald Miller tells in A Million Miles in 1,000 Years, he meets a man that tells him a family tradition that grew into something much more wonderful. This man said, our family was sitting around talking one day on New Year's Day, and we said, New Year's has to be the worst holiday on the calendar. There's no gifts. There's no songs. There's no special clothes to wear. It's just nothing. What can we do to make New Year's special? Well, one of the kids in the family said, well, we could buy a pony. No. And eventually they kicked ideas around, and one of the people said, how about if we had a parade? Oh, yeah, a parade. And so the dad said, all right, everybody go put together a costume. The goofier, the better. And find you something that can be your musical instrument that you can play as we march along. Or you can sing a song as you march along. And then there was an idea of genius. They decided nobody could watch the parade. They had to be in the parade. And so they spread out and went to the neighbor's house and said, we're going to have a parade. You can't watch it, but you can be in it. Put together your costume. grab you something to play, do something as we march down the street. And so they had this parade and everybody just loved it. And the next year, the neighborhood couldn't wait. It grew each year, and it grew and grew to the extent that some people who had moved out of the neighborhood actually fly back for the New Year's Day parade now to participate in it. They elect a queen of the parade every year, and they've been doing it long enough. There's actually a queen's brunch for all the girls who have been queen in the previous years. One year, the grand marshal of the parade was their local mail carrier, and the mailman led the parade down the street, throwing envelopes into the air. I love that. I love that. I would participate in that, but I like the lesson that it teaches too. See, you can spend your life sitting on a curb, waiting for the parade to come by, just sitting. And then one day you're going to realize, I am the parade. I am the parade. See, the Apostle Paul said he had learned to be content, whatever state he was in, rich, poor, healthy, sick, free, in prison. He learned to be content in whatever state he was in because he knew it was all part of the story that he was writing with his life. I'll tell you the truth, folks. When I was single, it was the best time of my life. And when I got married, it was the best time of my life. When my daughter was born, it was the best time of my life. When I became pastor of this little church, it was the best time of my life. If you're not living the best time of your life right now, you're not doing it right. You are simply not doing it right if you can't look at your life now and say, this is the best. This is awesome. That equation, 1 plus X equals everything. It can only be solved. It can only work out if the X is Jesus. Because you plus Jesus is completeness. It's purpose. It's abundant life. It's joy. It's love. This is my story. This is my song. What's your story? Nobody else is going to give you one. You have to write it yourself. It's not a chance. Oh, it might happen. It's not a chance. It's a choice. What kind of story are you going to write today? God bless you. We'll see you soon.